Join us as we visit 8 ports of call in 7 countries, including 5 new countries for us. On a 14-day cruise with the History Channel, we were sailing on the Holland America flagship, the Rotterdam, out of the Rotterdam Cruise Terminal. Boarding was very organized and efficient, and soon we were on board. This cruise was more expensive than our previous cruises, so we decided on an interior cabin to save some money. It was very cozy, but once the suitcases were under a bed, there was adequate storage for 2 weeks aboard. We won't give an extensive tour of the ship since it was overall pretty unremarkable, but it was well equipped for the variable Northern European weather. And the covered pool deck came in handy, especially for exercise classes on several days. And the retractable roof was welcome on a couple of days. We settled in on our first day, and soon we set sail. The port of Rotterdam is the largest in Europe and very long, stretching nearly 20 miles along a man-made canal out to the North Sea. And weather on our first sea day was predictably unpredictable. One big reason we booked this particular cruise was the History Channel Association. Oddly, there was Travel Channel, but no History Channel on the cabin TV. There were daily history blurbs, but they weren't ever related to our itinerary. Our port talks were okay, but they crammed 3 ports into one session with no History Channel connection or content. The only connection we did find were some curated tours that were priced 2 to 3 times a regular ship tour and really didn't seem worth it. But we were still very excited about our itinerary, and the first stop was Oslo, capital of Norway, our 64th country to visit. The Oslo Opera House is the most prominent building in the harbor. Its sloped roof is a popular promenade for locals and tourists alike, and the roof does give a great view of the harbor. We had a 3 p.m. sail away, so the hop-on hop-off bus at the port seemed the best use of our time. A popular stop was a Vigeland Sculpture Park, but we kept going south of town. To the Norse Folk Museum. The museum has some indoor exhibits, but we were there for the Open Air Museum, 160 buildings from Norway's history. The largest section is devoted to rural Norway. Today, over 80% of Norwegians live in urban areas, but 200 years ago, over 90% lived in wooden turf-roofed villages in the countryside. Norway's far north, what used to be called Lapland, is home to the rugged Sami people. Another section shows a 19th century town complete with general store. The final section holds the magnificent stave church. The all-wooden church was built 800 years ago in Gull, about 100 miles north of Oslo. Its design and decoration preserve elements from the Viking Age. Due for demolition in the 1880s, King Oscar II instead relocated the church and restored it here, making it the centerpiece of the world's first open-air museum. We also wanted to visit the nearby Viking Ship Museum, but it was closed for renovation. We sailed at 3 as scheduled. We saw the ski museum in the distance perched above the city. Heading back down the scenic Oslofjord, we continued to our next port, Aarhus, Denmark, our country number 65. The second largest city and largest container port in Denmark, Aarhus has a very modern Scandinavian feel, including the city public library. Though the buildings of Old Town date from the 12th century. Aarhus comes from 2 Old Norse words meaning mouth of the river. The Aarhus River is literally and figuratively the center of the city. Amusingly, the Aarhus River is the mouth of the River. We were told not to miss the Aarhus Art Museum, known as Aros. The building is truly unique, as are some of the pieces in their collection. Even the rooftop is a piece of art. The center of Aarhus Old Town is the cathedral. Its cobblestone streets are lined with shops and restaurants. And we found a wonderful one to sample the Danish staple smørrebrød, literally buttered bread, a Scandinavian open-faced sandwich. Our waiter said the delicious sauce was a Danish staple, so we picked up a bottle to try ourselves. Right at 5:30 we set sail onto the German Baltic coast at Warnemünde. Warnemünde is a medieval Baltic fishing town that was turned into a seaside resort in the 19th century. The buildings of Alexandrinenstrasse were once the homes of fishing families, but are now dressed up in 19th century finery to serve tourists. A nearby sand sculpture display had some pretty amazing sea-themed creations. But Warnemunde's fishing legacy does remain in the stalls that serve tasty baked fish sandwiches. Popular with tourists, and with seagulls.
Oh my god. They're so greedy. Oh my god.
A half-hour train ride away, Rostock is the regional capital and economic center. Its city walls in Old Town date from its heyday during the 15th and 16th centuries as a member of the wealthy and powerful Mercantile Hanseatic League. Rostock University, founded in 1419, is the oldest in the entire Baltic region. Near the university, the 5-gabled house holds a 32-bell glockenspiel. It only plays from 12 to 12:30 each day, and we missed it because we went to see a more famous musical clock that also plays at noon. St. Mary's Church in Rostock dates from 1265, but its astronomical clock is from 1472. In addition to the time and date, the main face tells the astrological sign, month of the year, and phase of the moon. The bottom disc is the master calendar, covering 132 years. The fourth set expired at the end of 2017, and a new disc covering out to 2150 was ceremonially introduced on New Year's Day 2018, which was also Rostock's 800-year anniversary. What sets this clock apart is it's the oldest that still functions with all original parts. Back on board, we were treated to a German-themed dinner and concert. Estonia is our country number 66. Tallinn's medieval walled old town is world-renowned and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The cruise terminal can accommodate 4 ships and plenty of tour buses. We skipped the sightseeing bus and went with city transit, tram and bus. Our first stop was Estonia's Freedom Square, that honors Estonia's periods of independence from the Russian Empire and Soviet Union, twice. The oldest part of the city is atop Toompea Hill, where a castle was built nearly 1,000 years ago, now the seat of the Estonian Parliament. Tallinn's oldest church, dating from the 13th century, and largest church from 1900 are both on Toompea Hill. Descending from Toompea through the inner wall, Lower Town extends to the port and Baltic Sea. Much of Lower Town was built during the 14th to 16th centuries, when it prospered as the northernmost city of the Hanseatic League. Tallinn's town pharmacy, just off the town hall square, opened in 1422. An older pharmacy in Dubrovnik, Croatia was opened in 1317, but Tallinn's is the world's oldest, still operating in the same location for over 500 years. Near the outer city wall, we stumbled on a quirky little place in an amazing old building. Nearby, the 600-year-old Helleman Tower is open as a museum. Tallinn's walls were originally over 2 kilometers long, with 45 towers. And over half of it is still standing. That concludes part 1 of our Baltic cruise. Stay tuned for part 2, where we visit what turned out to be our favorite city of the entire cruise.